Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for having me and having us African Leadership Magazine. We see in you one of the few African leaders that has a clear vision, and we've selected you on this African Leadership Legacy Series. And you come from a rich history of patriotism, leadership, and service to the nation, right from your father and all. And we see that there's a clear path from your policies, from your pronouncements. Can you tell us a bit about what growing up was like for you? What are some of those experiences that molded you into becoming who you are today?
As you correctly said, I'm coming from a political family. My father having been the president of Zanzibar as well as Tanzania. I've grown up surrounded by political activities. So after having concluded my studies, I was asked to run for the parliament through my father's constituency. So it is for that reason that I had developed interest in politics, and that is the reason that I decided to pursue the political area, and that's the reason that I'm here today.
And as president, you've been a major proponent of attracting investment, attracting tourism, and attracting trade to Zanzibar. And you've done it through various kinds of policies, but it would be great to hear from your mouth. What are some of the things you've done to create the right business environment to attract capital, investment, and tourism?
Well, as you know, investment is very important for any country's growth. In Zanzibar, being an island, we are surrounded by the ocean. We don't have much land, and for that reason, agriculture would not be big in this area because of the scarcity of land. We don't have minerals, but since we are surrounded by the ocean, we thought the ocean should be our land. And for that reason, we came up with the policy of blue economy to try to utilize the ocean resources in a sustainable manner for economic growth of the country. And we put up a lot of policies, particularly policies that came up with incentives for those who would bring their capital here. So that is the reason that we have the blue economy as the main policy of our country's economic growth, but also being tourism, being contributing about 30% of our GDP. We had no option but to look into how to implement strategies and policies that would attract more tourism, and particularly around areas of fisheries, because the majority of Zanzibaris are employed in fisheries.
Let me take you on the blue economy. Yes, you're known for being a major push for the blue economy. What does it entail? What does it cover? And who are the people invited to invest?
Well, blue economy has several sectors. Among them is tourism. Tourism being the biggest for Zanzibar, because as I said earlier, it contributes 30% of our GDP. But fisheries, as I said, is an important sector. We also have oil and gas. Zanzibar has discovered some gas, and we are hoping to start to exploit that in the near future, because we have good finds around I would say 3.2 trillion cubic feet already discovered. So we are going to be also involved in oil and gas. But being an island, and we are definitely required to have a major port here, I mean seaport. And we are now planning to come up with a multi-purpose port in a place called Mangapwani, and this port will be a transshipment hub. So rather than having a port that will only cater for Zanzibar, it will be a port that caters for the region, you know. Containers and other cargo would be coming from Zanzibar, going to this other ports around here like Mombasa, Dar es Salaam, Beira, as far as Durban in South Africa. That's the intention, and I think we are on the right track. So those are the main sectors of blue economy, but also we also have, together with those, marine transport and trade. Yeah, so if we are to be a hub for transshipment, it means we'll have to have a lot of smaller vessels that will be plying around here. So marine transport and marine trade will be one of the major sectors of blue economy.
Let me take you on the tourism side, being the major contributor to GDP. You've been known to say Zanzibar is more interested in the quality of tourism and not the volume of tourism. Can you throw more light on that?
Yes, because of the small size of Zanzibar, you don't want mass tourism, because mass tourism also has an impact on the climate. It has impact on environmental changes. So our policy, our tourism policy in Zanzibar is what we call high value, low volume. You get very wealthy individuals to come in Zanzibar in small numbers, but we're getting even more resources, more revenues than mass tourism. And that's the idea, to have high class standard of hotels for high wealth individuals, but low volumes. This is good not only from the point of view of revenues, but for sustainability. We need to preserve the environment. So the smaller the number, the better for environment.
Well, I like the fact that you mentioned it helps with sustainability. And I'm excited because very recently you were nominated to receive the Global Water Prize, Changemakers Prize, for your investment in water for sustainability's sake. How do you feel about this award? Why I want to congratulate you, but I want to know how you feel and what are some of the investments in water that you have embarked upon?
Being an island, we do not have enough water resource. So it's very important for us to utilize what we have in the best way possible. So I'm happy that we have collaborated with partners, the Global Water Partnership, which is being led by the former President of Tanzania, Jakaya Kikwete, the Southern African part of the Global Water Partnership. And we had come up with a strategy for Zanzibar. And that strategy is what gave us the award, that we had come up with a good strategy, that we are now going to look for funding to make sure that we utilize what we have sustainably. And in that way, I can tell you one thing, we rely on groundwater here in Zanzibar. Yeah, and it's quite costly. So we need to have the resources and we need to make it sustainable. So there's a lot of research around that area. There's a lot of policies and strategies. And this is what gave us the award, because we had implemented a very good strategy towards the water sustainability in Zanzibar.
Wow. Again, congratulations. It's a worthy award. And let me move on to peace. Tourism, we know, would never thrive where there is no peace, there is no security. And of course, that goes to unity. You've been known as a leader who has forged a very united front, not just locally in Zanzibar, but across the nation, the union, and also across the region. What's driving your approach to sustaining peace, security, and unity?
As you said, without peace and security, there'll be no development. There'll be no prosperity, because everything depends on peace and security. And it is for that reason, when we came into power, the first thing we decided was to formulate a government of national unity. The aim was to bring all players on the table so that we get stability in the country. And I'm happy to say that since we created the government of national unity, Zanzibar has been quite stable, very peaceful, and it gives us now the room to do the developmental strategies that we have. So I'm glad to say that so far we have been working hard to make sure that we create strategies and policies and implement different infrastructure projects so that we gauge that prosperity that the people are looking for. And all this is because of the stability that we have in the country. Yeah.
Again, I must commend you. It's not every day you see that. We're seeing you a leader who is very strategic and very visionary. From your Strategic Development Plan 2026, Vision 2030, and we also realized you recently in December set up what you call the Presidential Delivery Bureau. This speaks to a leader with vision. What are some of your larger visions for Zanzibar and, of course, for the region going forward?
Yes, we have those policies in place, and we have Zanzibar 2050 vision. We have PADEP, which is Zanzibar Development Plan, 5 years plan. And I've formulated the Presidential Delivery Bureau in order to make sure that we deliver and not just have policies and strategies, but we actually deliver on the ground. Yeah, so that's the reason we have those that setup. Now, it's quite important to have vision, because you have to dream that in the next 50 years, where do you want Zanzibar to be? And since you asked me where I'm visualizing Zanzibar, as I told you earlier, I want Zanzibar to be a hub for everything. A hub for transshipment, because we have, we are surrounded by the ocean. We can create a good port here. We want to be a hub for logistics. Rather than people going all the way to Dubai or to China, why not have a logistics center in Zanzibar, And in general, I want Zanzibar to be a hub for everything. That's the vision that we have.
Wow, that's a powerful, powerful vision. And it aligns. Again, last year we realized that the air passengers into Zanzibar increased dramatically. It means something is happening here. And it speaks to driving into Zanzibar. This is my first time. I was excited. The roads are clean. And what would you say to our other African brothers? How would you sell Zanzibar? I want to be one of your ambassadors to attract visitors here. What should be the USP? What should we tell them about Zanzibar?
We have the best tourist destination in Zanzibar. And our tourism here relies on two major areas, unlike most of the tourist destinations where they have a single area. In Zanzibar, we have the what we call ocean, or rather coastal tourism, because of the beautiful sea that we have, because of the white sandy beaches that we have. That is one which you cannot find in many places, I can tell you that. But on the other hand, Zanzibar has got history. We have heritage. This is what gives us an advantage of other areas like Maldives and others. Here, when you come to Zanzibar, you can enjoy the history, the culture of the people here, the heritage that we have, Stone Town and so on. So in a nutshell, I would say we are offering the best tourist destination around in the region. But for those who are interested in investment, Zanzibar offers the best incentives when it comes to investment. So if you come to Zanzibar and want to invest in any of the sectors that I mentioned, you are likely to have the best tax incentives than most of the areas around the region.
Wow, wow. It's a beautiful feeling, and I am a believer in Zanzibar today. Now, Zanzibar has been described as a crossroad of cultural influence, where Africa meets Arabic history with Indian flavor, some will add with European touch. It makes Zanzibar a confluence of sorts. How have you been able to harness international partnerships with this level of history and heritage for the benefit of Zanzibaris?
As I said, the history of Zanzibar There used to be Europeans here, and then there used to be Arabs who were here. But then after our revolution, we were a country that embraced, all the other people from everywhere. Europeans came, Indians, as you said, came. So most of the time, Zanzibar is an area, a multicultural area. So we have all those cultures together, and I think it gives us a unique position in the region.
Awesome. Everybody feels at home in Zanzibar, yes. We see you a statesman, not just for Zanzibar. Your vision, your strategic leadership, and I'm excited it's already been noticed internationally, like the UN awards you'll be receiving. And we have you in scarce commodity in Africa. I can tell you that. I've been privileged to move around. What's your vision for African leadership? What do you think leaders of Africa, with the templates you've displayed there, what should it be? What's your take to African leaders?
Well, the most important thing, as we've said earlier, is peace and security. I think all African leaders should thrive to make sure that our continent is peaceful, our continent is stable politically and economically. That is the only way we will prosper. And I'm glad that the African Union now comes with a lot of economic policies, like the free continental trade area. That will make a huge difference when we actually can implement those policies. And the only way we can do that is, first of all, we must have security. All the continent has to be secure and stable politically. And then we must make sure that we have the necessary infrastructure. It's very difficult now to send anything from Zanzibar or from Tanzania to any African countries. We would rather send it to Europe. It would be faster, and cheaper. So it's the infrastructure that we need to make sure that we create, and then I think Africa will prosper.
Last question for you, Your Excellency. I see a lot of young people around you in your government, and on social media spaces, you're one leader that has a lot of youth support. We know youth to always be very attacking of their leaders. How have you been able to draw the youth close? What are your programs for young people and also for women, being the other minority groups in Africa?
Well, I'm a believer in youth. I think given the chance, they can do wonders. And that's the reason I accommodated a lot of youth in my cabinet, a lot of youth in different positions in the government, and women as well. I have a good number of women who are actually doing a tremendous job. So I believe that we can do a lot by using the youth in government and in other areas, but also because the demography, the population that we have in Zanzibar and in Tanzania in general, the majority are youth. We need to have a special type of strategy to make sure that we are responsive to their need. They have a lot of needs, education, but also employment and so on. So sometimes it's difficult to absorb all the graduates into government. We need to make them able to self-employ. So it is these strategies that we are coming up with to make sure that they employ themselves. We make sure that they are able to get good education so that they can, have prosperity in their lives. So it is necessary because of the demography. The majority of our population in Tanzania is the youth.